honestly, this looks really entertaining. And this would be a movie I would definitely go into theater and watch. I'm not so sure yet if Bautista could carry this role. You know, his temperament to become more comedic. I don't know if he can carry this.
You know, it's not the first time I've been proven wrong. Let me tell you something. He carried this. He was definitely on his A-list game in this movie. He isn't like a Tom Cruise or anything, but I felt like he definitely stepped up his game and definitely felt like he came in prepared to do this role, to do it justice, and to carry his weight. He did it very, very well. First, I have to say, this film was rated R and takes full advantage of its rated R rating, so don't bring your children, just in case that wasn't clear. This movie is definitely one of the better John Wick rip-offs that I've seen. And when I say that, I'm not saying it rips off John Wick like to a T, verbatim, but it is one of the few films that we've seen that have done the John Wick, plot. The way they did it, I think it was very creative. It's giving Suicide Squad done right. In terms of, like, I feel like the graphics and pop-ups of this movie worked in giving it more of a fun comic book feel, the way Suicide Squad tried to do, and I think went a little too far. The casting on this movie was pretty top tier. I'm not saying it's like, I think it was pretty good. I think everyone did their job and had fun doing it. Terry Crews was the standout. I think at most movies Terry Crews is in, he's gonna be somewhat of a standout just because of, the way they typecast him in certain roles and the way he has fun with roles. I watched Jeremy John's review and he had mentioned that the romance actually stood out to him as one of the good things the film did, and I tend to agree. I think that what could have been a very standard, guy meets a girl plot ended up having some depth that, while not anything new, the actors played it up very well. I think they did a good job, chemistry-wise, of making this feel believable. In terms of what this movie has to say about God, I do think that, obviously this film doesn't pretend to prop up any type of religious standards. There is, however, a scene towards the end where they are in a church and, you have to do confession, and like the priest is like, in all my years as a priest, as a human being, I have never come across something so messed up. It was a funny joke, but I think that basically it's the understanding of God is that he's the man upstairs. That was verbatim what one of the characters said, and I think that it's not an egregious mocking of God, but I do think that it tends to be what Hollywood does with God. It plays him up as a joke, and I wish that was done a little bit less. Personally, this isn't completely a turn your brain off action movie. The first act, I think, is very much a drama. It's actually pretty interesting how the tone just switches, because it starts off being, the first 15 minutes is like an action kind of suspense thriller to a degree. Then the rest of the first act is a drama where you get to meet these two characters, the protagonist and his love interest. You get to see how they interact, and you get to kind of see the wrestle with "are we, aren't we," and quote unquote on his deathbed and not wanting her to see him like that. There's some drama there that I think was really well done, and it had me into it. And then as soon as it switches to "you're not dying," immediately we're back to action thriller, but it's more comedy. It becomes an action comedy from that point on. It's kind of egregious how much CGI blood there is, because it definitely looks fake, and you see so much of it. It's like after a while the effect of it doesn't really hit you. By the time the movie ends, you're like, don't even care about it anymore. And yeah, so if you can't handle that stuff, don't watch it. Don't watch it. I probably won't go watch it again. I think it's a good one-time watch, one-time enjoy, but if I was doing a deep dive in action films and John Wick action films, I would go back to it, but I wouldn't do this a second time. As far as a rating for this movie goes, I think out of 5, I would give it a 3.5. I think that it was fun, enjoyable, definitely something, if you're into action films, get a group of people around, all y'all watch it together, have a good time for sure. If you got this far, Kudos to you. And until next time, I pray you have a blessed week, day, morning, evening, whatever it is. Until next time, peace and deuces.